What a day it was at school. Let's see, get this set here. Tell me all about it. It's all in my journal. My backpack weighs 1,000 pounds. My backpack weighs 1,000 pounds. It's fatter than a cow. I don't know how I carry it, but do it anyhow. It's filled with books and papers that my teacher says I need. She never lets me lighten it, no matter how I plead. Sometimes it tips me backward. It's a wonder I don't fall. Sometimes I have to stop and rest and lean against the wall. I tell you from experience, it's not a lot of fun when you have when you have to lug a backpack that's about half a ton. That is quite the heavy backpack. I tried to do my homework. And I finished late last night. It was our science project, but I couldn't get it right. I made a little creature out of 7 kinds of slime, plus pudding and pastrami, and a lemon and a lime. The thing began to wiggle in a creepy sort of way. I sensed that my experiment was going far astray. It started making noises that I didn't understand. This was truly unexpected, not at all what I had planned. I warbled and it whistled. Oh, it warbled and it whistled and unleashed an awful roar, then bobbled up and down a bit and oozed across the floor. Then suddenly that thing I'd made went totally berserk. My science homework ate my dog. I guess it needs more work. I guess it needs a lot more work if it ate your dog. Isn't it normally your dog eats your homework, right? Not your homework eats your dog. We're shaking maracas. We're shaking maracas and beating on drums. We're tapping on tables with fingers and thumbs. We jiggle our bells and we play tambourines. We rattle our bottles of buttons and beans. We're blowing our whistles and tooting kazoos. We're clanging our cymbals as loud as we choose. We stomp up and down on the floor with our feet. We love making music. This sound is so sweet. They've got a full-fledged rock band going there. Oh. We had a field trip yesterday. An annual event. This year was really special. We're all happy that we went. We visited a factory to watch candy being made and saw 1,000,000 lollipops on colorful parade. We saw a vat of chocolate that they'd warmed so it would melt, and endless rows of gumdrops on a great conveyor belt. They gave us lots of samples, and we giggled, roared, and squealed. Our field trip was exciting, though we never saw a field. I wish I had studied harder. I wish I'd studied harder for our. Well, I should have studied harder before I started reading this. I wish I studied harder for our spelling. What does this mean? Spelling? Spellink? Am I saying that right? Spelling?
Where is it?
Our spelling test today.
Spelling. Well, that's
spelling.
Because it's not spelling.
So they didn't even get that right. All right, we'll start over. We're just going to roll with it now.
Spelling test.
I wish I'd studied harder for our spelling.
They spelled it wrong because it's a spelling
today.
Test. They're testing you.
Okay, I'm failing this test.
No, you passed.
I'm
because you
sorry.
corrected it.
I'm sorry that I didn't. Now I'm feeling some dismay. I'd like to get a passing grade, but don't believe I will. I think I got Wyoming wrong and China and Brazil. Though I don't want to make mistakes, I make them all the same. It's no one else's fault but mine. I have to take the blame. I tried to spell, oh my goodness. Come back here. Come back, Mimi. You got to help me with this one. There's like all kinds of wrong stuff. What do you think that one says?
Connecticut.
Oh my God.
Connecticut.
We lived in Connecticut. Wow.
I tried to spell
Connecticut. All right. But really, I just guessed. If I had studied harder, then I might have passed this test.
Okay, wait a minute.
There's all kinds of wrong words in here.
This is a lot. Maybe we should find them all. So spelling was spelled wrong. Harder was spelled wrong in the first line, right? I'm sorry was spelled wrong. Now I'm feeling some dismay. There's no E on dismay. I'd like to get a passing grade. That's not how you spell grade. You spell it Grade. There you go. But I don't believe I will. Believe is spelled wrong. Wyoming is spelled
instead
wrong.
of two E's, it's an IE.
And China spelled wrong. Brazil spelled wrong. Mistakes is spelled wrong.
But that one sounds like it's tasty.
That's funny because that is how you spell steak, like you eat a steak instead of mistake, right? And all, that's a tool, AWL, instead of ALL. Fault, that's supposed to be a U, not a W. The blame, it's spelled wrong. There's no I in blame.
In Connecticut. That's not even close.
CONNECTICUT, Connecticut.
Oh my goodness.
Guest, there's a GU, guest. If I had studied is up here spelled correctly. See that? Spelled. Then I might, MIGHT, not a bug, might, have passed this test.
Oh my goodness.
Ooh, that was a toughie.
That one just like
broke your brain.
Yeah, that one broke my brain. It beat me right up. All right, here we go. Moving on from that spelling test that I clearly failed. Let's see. A classmate named Tim is my partner in gym. It's clear that I'm no competition for him. We tried shooting baskets. He scored a whole lot, while I hardly ever sink even one shot. He's super at sit-ups and climbing a rope. I'm useless at both, and I have much hope. But he never brags that he's better in gym, and so I enjoy being partners with Tim. Tim sounds like a very cool person. That he's not shaming the other one for not doing as well. Okay. I made a noise this morning. Do I even want to go on with this one? I can only imagine what the noise would be in the morning that you're making. We have to just keep going. I made a noise this morning that I didn't mean to make. It truly was an accident, an error, a mistake. I don't know how it happened, but it suddenly was there, filled with great reverberation that resounded in the air. It made a strong impression on the people in the room. A lot of them reacted like they'd heard a sonic boom. They looked at one another as if asking, "Was it you?" They were laughing. They were pointing. I behaved the same way too. I couldn't keep from joking with the other girls and boys, and never once admitted it was I who made that noise. Though I'm sorry that I made it from the bottom of my heart. In a way, my brief erupted was a little work of art. Oh my goodness. Well, I don't know. What do you think the noise he made in school that got everybody's attention?
I think it rhymed with art.
You think it rhymes with art? Let's see. We got it's library time. It's library time, and I read to myself a book about knights that I found on a shelf. I start to imagine the more that I read that I am a knight on a powerful steed. I conquer a dragon to show I am brave, then vanquish a troll in its dingy dark cave. I ride through the land, doing deed after deed, for we have a library where I can read. Your school has a library. You can go there and get all kinds of books to imagine.
And your city will have a library.
And your city has a library. Yep, you got a library somewhere in your town. Hopefully you're close by. In the cafeteria, I was feeling sort of silly, so I took a bit of bread and directed it precisely at my buddy Benny's head. Who did that? Benny shouted as he shot out of his seat, flying carrots at Charlotte. Charlotta? What is that? C-A-R? No. Carlotta. C-A-R-L-O-A-T-T-A? Carlotta? Who then threw her peas at Pete. Pete took a small tomato wedge and hurled it at Denise, who responded, catapulting macaroni at Felice. Felice, whose aim is perfect, started pelting me with beans. I believe that I'm learning what a food chain really means. Food fight? They would lose their minds if you had a food fight in school nowadays.
Not to mention, what a waste of food.
Hey, I'm so old that when I was in school, we actually had food fights. Just like that. Let's see. I know how to add. I subtract pretty well. I multiply and I divide. But I cannot seem to do fractions at all. I've tried and I've tried and I've tried. Will I ever solve 20/11ths times 9 or 17/7ths times 3? These fractions are pains that my brain can't contain. They're clearly a mystery to me. Are 44/5 minus 5 and a third as much as 15/2? And how do I add 6/16 to a sixth? I truly don't know what to do. My teacher says fractions will soon become clear. In fact, he does not have a doubt. He's usually right, so I'll keep working hard, and maybe I'll figure them out. Well, if you keep working at it, you will definitely get it figured out eventually. That's a good rule of thumb for this life. Don't give up. A man named Mr. Hoobybatch? A man named Mr. Hoobybatch is in our school today, and we all get to listen to the things he has to say. He's giving recitations from his stories in the gym. He's written many children's books. We've never heard of him. He's big and round and jolly, and he's lots and lots of fun. He's telling silly anecdotes. We laugh at every one. Anecdotes. We laugh at every one. In fact, that's it there. Anecdotes. We laugh at every one. In fact, we've not stopped laughing from the moment he begun. We're glad he came to visit. He's a very funny man. Oh my goodness. They keep throwing these words in here that even are tripping me up. What's that say there? All right. I'm off to the infirmary. I've got to see the nurse. I have a burning fever and could not be feeling worse. My head is splitting open. There's a ringing in my ears. My stomach won't stop aching. I am practically in tears. My nose has started bleeding, and I'm getting dizzy too. There is no doubt about it. I may have caught the Martian flu. I'm breaking out in blotches, and I've got an awful chill. If I had done my homework, I might not be quite so ill. Oh my goodness. The Martian flu.
Big faker.
Martian flu is a real thing. It's horrible.
Big faker.
You do not want to get the Martian flu. I had Martian flu many, many times when I was in school. It's a real thing, especially when you don't do your homework. And when you have your science, when your science experiment has eaten your dog, you can't use my dog ate my homework. You always fall back on the Martian flu. I'm learning our history. There's so much to know. A lot of it happened a long time ago. I learn how explorers arrive on our shores. I learn of our leaders in peace and in war. I learn of inventors and scientists as well, of trips to the moon and the Liberty Bell. There's one thing I'm learning that makes me think, wow, we're all part of history because it's happening now. We're all part of history.
That's true.
Let's see. I drew a yellow unicorn, complete with polka dots, a 7-legged elephant, a pig with purple spots. The sky was full of furry fish, all flying upside down. An octopus was dressed in plaid. A camel wore a crown. I drew a green rhinoceros that floated on the breeze, the bees as big as basketballs, and blue spaghetti trees. The penguins wore pajamas, and a carrot flew a kite. My teacher says it's beautiful. I think my teacher's right. That is great. I want to go fishing for those big purple furry fish that fly upside down. Show and tell. Benny brought a lizard for show and tell today. He didn't watch it closely, and the lizard got away. Carlotta stood and held a plant that blossomed in a pot. I planted it myself, she said. I like my plant a lot. Tim then showed some lightning bugs. He kept inside a jar. Each one twinkled brightly like a miniature star. Felice showed off her hamsters, named Penelope and Spot. These are my hamsters, said Felice. I like them both a lot. Amanda had a bird's nest that she found beneath a tree. Denise displayed her teddy bears. I counted 23. Pete brought in some rope and tied a complicated knot. It's fun to do, he told us. I like tying knots a lot. I meant to bring my yo-yos, but I guess that I forgot. I spotted Benny's lizard perched atop Carlotta's pot. I snatched it in a second, thought I might have taken less. Everyone applauded me. I was a great success. I'm glad they caught that lizard. So, and if he would have brought his yo-yos, he probably would have missed catching that lizard. What do we got here? Teacher's pet. No one cares for teacher's pet. It's really sort of sad. He's always first to raise his hand, which makes some people mad. They often call him awful names like weasel, rat, and skunk, and moan when he gets answers right. They'd love to see him flunk. But teacher's pet is pretty smart, so he is seldom wrong. He also does his very best to try to get along. Everyone pokes fun at him, and that's why I regret that I am so unfortunate, for I am teacher's pet. Aw, that's sad.
There's nothing wrong with being a teacher.
There's nothing wrong with being the teacher's pet. There's nothing wrong with sitting in the front of the classroom. Nevermore. What is he doing here? I have to write a poem for class. I have to write a poem for class, but don't think I'll succeed. I know I don't know all the words that I am going to need. I cannot quite imagine how my poem's supposed to be. I've got a sinking feeling I'm not good at poetry. My poem must have a meter, and it also has to rhyme. It's due tomorrow morning. How I wish I had more time. I do not think that I can write a poem the way I should, but look, this is a poem right here, and it is pretty good. See, he did it without even knowing. Oh, that's it. My, what a day. Can't wait until tomorrow. That was great. That was like a whole bunch of little different stories all in one.
That was pretty cool.
I like that. The day, or what a day it was at school. All right. Hopefully you had a good day at school and it was just as interesting.